Good morning, friends. Steve here. And yeah, I'm noticing some big changes. I'll talk about them in a little bit. But first, I'll invite you to just um, join me in a healing field. And so you just want to state these words out loud if you want to be part of the healing field in that way. And so what you say is, I choose to connect to my deep self. I choose to connect to my higher self. I choose to connect to my highest self. I ground myself to the healing center of the earth, and I open myself to the healing power of the One. I let go of anything not useful to me now. And if you desire to have some help from the seventh dimensional beings, the Hathors, you can state out loud, I choose to work with the Hathors. Okay, now I'm just going to ask that we all be placed in a field of protection while we do this work, and ask the higher self to take us through the portal of time to the event that would be of the highest good to release and integrate at this time. And I invite all souls affected by this event to return to the event to release and integrate the energy of the event for themselves. And I ask that they be placed in a field of protection while they do their work. And upon all of our arrival at the event, I ask the higher self to assist us to release and integrate all energies of the event, gently and easily, fully and completely, on all levels and through all space and time. Okay, that is you're connecting to the healing event for the day. You can hit the pause button if you want to just go do the work yourself and get off to whatever it is you need to do. If you want to stay and hear about the tarot card that the universe pulled for us today, universe using my hands, but with the request that the universe pull a card for us as a collective, that would be useful today. And so I'm going to do that reading now. So the Six of Cups. It's a pretty card. Cups have to do with emotions, water. The number 6 has to do with harmony and nurturing, community and caretaking. Water has to do with emotions, connections, love, intimacy, community, intuition. When we just begin knowing, when we come out of this withdrawal state, that the world's too much for us and we have to hold ourselves back and put up fields of protection against others' energy because their energy is disturbing to us. When we begin to release energy, so you could possibly feel that withdrawal energy, that pulling in, that tightening in, and that's just an example of something that we may do all the time and not ever notice it. But now that you're noticing it from my doing it, then also notice what it feels like when you just make a decision to not hold that contraction that keeps you separate, and you just, if it's the right thing for you to do, you just maybe state out loud, I choose to let this go. And then just notice if you do it, and if you don't, there's a reason for that, and you can trust that it's the right thing. But if you do it, you let go of that sense of separation, you may now notice how you and I feel more in sync. Community intuition. We feel our superpower, which is vulnerability. It's our ability to be vulnerable, which means we're open to the world around us and are able to function in our power exposed to the world. It might take you a minute to adapt to that construct or that concept. Community intuition. We begin to understand each other. And as we begin to understand each other, we begin to have more compassion for maybe what the other has gone through in this life. And we have curiosity in terms of how, as a community, we might be able to let go of some of these things together by becoming safe within ourselves, and therefore safer for others to become vulnerable with us. And when our energy begins to move from one to the other, and when we have the space and the capacity and the feeling that it's right to do that with another, we can begin to really get to know another, even as they're changing. The water signs are related to emotions. They're related to the heart. Some of these suits are related to the mind. Some are related to more the body, physical possessions. This one's related more to the emotions. And the wands are related more to the soul work we're doing. So today, the card the universe is gifting us is the Six of Cups. There's in this particular book that I like very much, I've shown you before, Finding the Fool, Meg Jones Wall. It has a list of key words associated with the Six of Cups. Those key words are nostalgia. And I've been noticing a lot of flooding of memories of the past just coming up and feeling them. Good nostalgia, bad nostalgia, unresolved things, good feeling things, all sorts, a whole parameter of things have been surfacing in my consciousness. Six of Cups is also associated with optimism. And optimism may have been challenging for many of us in these recent 6-7 years of time of the spiritual cleansing. So the spiritual cleansing, the physical cleansing, the mental cleansing, the emotional cleansing, and then 2018 to 2025 was the spiritual cleansing or soul cleansing. That completed on March 24th, 2025. Oh, it completed? The cycle, the 28-year cycle completed. Your own soul cleansing, it's probably still going on. But this feeling of optimism, for many of us, it's been we've been having to pump, do the cheerleader thing with ourselves to stay optimistic. But the universe is offering this as a gift to us right now, optimism. Keywords of the Six of Cups is also happy memories. Oftentimes our painful memories block out our happy memories. So when we resolve our painful memories, it opens up a world of memories, quite possibly including many happy memories that just kind of weren't available to us. Keywords with the Six of Cups is inner child work, also joy and hope, celebration, comparison. So that's just the key words. But that's a lot of content in those keywords. And then the paragraphs about the Six of Cups. First one says, after a period of grief and recovery, we find ourselves remembering joys past and dreaming of a more hopeful future. So there is, in that sentence, there is the process. When you're willing to let go of the emotions that you're holding based on a traumatic experience. It could have been the death of a loved one. It could have been something that was done to you as a child that was inappropriate and just felt wrong, and you buried it. It could have been, somebody hitting you and really causing damage that never got released. All of these things are held energies. They're not unavailable to us. The part of us that's holding them is protecting us from those feelings so we can function in the world. But it won't need to protect us from those feelings if we release them. So how do we do that? You can state, I choose to let this go. You can recognize that you're holding this energy of this event, and you can also choose not to hold it by releasing your hold on these energies. Energy's natural desire is to move. And once they move and release from the event just goes into the flow. So like you have these happy memories of the past. Well, that memory is part of the flow of your consciousness. That memory just comes in and awakens in you some useful memory, some joy and hope. Our community has rallied around us, and our sense of hope expands, and we are a community. So those of you who watch these videos that I make in somewhat of an infrequent manner, but I've made a lot of them in 16 months or whatever. But this is a community, and this is a community that's set up as a means of virtual support. So when you are working with some energies and you come and you watch a video and you participate in a healing process, more than likely you were drawn to the video because the event that we're clearing is one that you need to clear in order to open up to the community more. And there's no joining this community other than you're participating. Like there's no sacred symbols or anything, there's no hats you have to wear. You do need to wear a hoodie. I don't know if you knew that, but if you don't have a hoodie, you may need to get a hoodie because sometimes we need to look more spiritual, like monks or something. Or hoodies are just really useful if you want to keep your head warm. But you don't really have to have a hoodie, but if you don't have a hoodie, you might be missing out on a wonderful experience. So it's something to think about. Our community has rallied around us, and I'm beginning to see that more and more, that one member's comment repairs another member's issue. It's pretty cool. Our sense of hope expands, helping us to deepen existing connections and discover new ones. Nostalgia mingles with wonder as we reflect on how far we've come. This beauty and pleasure, this deep sense of comfort in all that we have, is the magic and safety of the Six of Cups. Part of overcoming sorrow is finding a new awareness that Blessings, connections, and love have never left us. And in the wake of the Five of Cups, the Six offers us a chance for a fresh start, new opportunities for beauty and pleasure, alongside remembrances of where we have been. The Six of Cups is a card of roots and nostalgic choices. When we look back on our own history and growth, we can trace the patterns of our development and remember the important relationships and experiences that shaped us. In reflecting on the cool, gentle waters that have soothed us in the past, we can appreciate the flows of the present and begin to embrace essential connections once again. It takes skill, effort, and intention to view things as they really are instead of making them more complicated than they need to be. Intuition is something that we all possess but must learn to utilize. Sometimes it's easier to drown in hurt or avoid something entirely than it is to engage with a challenge, unpack our biases or fears, or acknowledge what it is we truly desire. By remembering beauty, by seeking relationships, by prioritizing pleasure and giving ourselves permission to be authentic, we can establish rituals of joy, integrating love into our daily lives. We can expand, and notice that word expand our understanding of self-love, and in making space, there it is again, expanding space for everything that we have endured, we can get to know and appreciate ourselves better, remember our strength and courage and power. Sixes crave harmony. And the Six of Cups is a card often associated with nostalgia, family, or simpler times. This can empower us to consider the foundations that we are building upon, as well as to honor the ones we no longer need. I choose to let this go. Safe spaces are important, particularly for marginalized or traumatized communities. And this card can make space for the times that we have felt nurtured and comforted, as well as the times that we have needed protection. That's a wonderful card for today. I appreciate Meg Jones-Wall's words. I'm going to see in terms of time. So I'm going to go ahead and say these words so the people who only watch this video get these words. So I've been given a term by my mentor, mystic trauma therapist Thomas Hubel. I've been studying with him for 8 months or so. And he gifted me this idea that I've embodied and I've found to be extremely valuable. And the construct is a construct until it's embodied, and then it's an experience. So the construct is that there is an aspect of you that is your mature self. And your mature self can hold the safety and space for that part of you that's holding a trauma. And so when you go into that consciousness, expanded, spacious consciousness, mature consciousness, when you hold that consciousness in that space for the healing, as this talked about in this tarot card, then this contracted energy that's stuck on this event that's unprocessed can be released so much easier. I've been doing this release work since 1970 when I was in a group therapy with, I don't know, 12, 15 people from our vineyard community. So we all lived on this 160-acre startup vineyard, and we ended up doing this group therapy together. I was 19 at the time, and I found myself beating with a tennis racket, beating on a pillow, letting go of my anger towards my father. Boom, boom, boom. That was the initiation of letting those held anger energies move. Later on, there's lots of grief energies, lots of fear energies, but the first one was anger. And so I have found anger has been one of the more difficult energies to work with because a lot of us have associated anger with violence. And when anger is associated with violence, rather than associated with energy, which it really is energy that's stuck, it's just energy. There's nothing violent about it. If it's trapped and a person is put in a corner like any animal, it may come out. Or people may use their anger as a means of being verbally, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever, aggressive or violent towards another. That energy can be used for that. But that energy, once freed up, can also be used for the healing of the entire individual and the empowerment of the individual. So what I wanted to tell you about was through this mature self, this construct that I began to work with and embody as a reality within myself, I used this mature self to hold a safe place for a part of me that was right in the center of my chest that was holding this incredible amount of anger. And I'd never felt safe with letting it up and out. And I felt safe and in spaciousness a number of times over the past week. And that anger just came out, and it just came out, and it came out, and it came out with none of that. It just came out and it released, and energy just began flowing through my system. So I want to let you know, you may not be quite ready to have it happen like that, or you might be completely ready to have it happen like that. From 1 to 2 o'clock this morning, I was very much awake. It wasn't lucid dreaming. I was very much awake and realizing that I was releasing fear from my spinal cord. I could tell it was coming out from my center, and it was just coming out and coming out and coming out. And I was able to hold this mature space and just feel it releasing. And the anger had come out really literally within minutes. The anger was out. But this fear ran throughout my system and out, up and down and out for an hour. And then after an hour, it felt done. It felt like that fear energy was stuck from events held inside my spinal cord, which is perceived to be where our Akashic memories are held within our spine. All of our memories within our spine may be held in consciousness, may be held on a soul level, may be held in our etheric body, but held within in the core of our being, and a lot of that fear released. So you can look at me, those of you who looked at me before, and you can say, huh, he looks different today. Or, no, I don't see anything different, but this sounds interesting. All of it's fine. But just know, the mature self can hold a space of safety for the part of ourselves that feel traumatized, that are holding on to this energy thinking they're protecting us from it, which they are, but they no longer need to do so. So when they're ready, and we give them the space and the safety and the compassion and the comfort and the kindness, when we hold that for that part of ourself, that part of ourself feels like, I can let this go. And then I can just become part of the flow of this soul that I am. So that was a real powerful learning for me, and I share it with you now because it was so useful, and you may find it that way as well. Okay, now for this healing part of this, we're now going to do the final closing aspects of it. So I ask the higher self at the event to assist all of the souls that had returned to the event, combine with that part of their soul that had remained at the event, and bring that combined soul back into the body in present time with all of its wisdom, power, clarity, compassion, curiosity, and kindness. And with joy and peace, I ask those souls to ground themselves into the healing center of the earth and open up the portal for the delivery of the new energies into the earth at this time. And I ask that those new energies be brought in now. And activated. And I let the universe and beyond know that this has been done and that it's good. It is, I'm just saying this for myself, it is good to be with you while you do this healing work. The work is done for yourself, but it affects everyone in your world. So you can see why I might appreciate all of us doing this together and the changes that we're supporting in our world through allowing change within ourselves. Okay, have a lovely day, and I'm going to do a Mayan calendar reading next, so I might see you there.